Hey, and welcome to Wait Just an Infosec. This episode is hosted by me, Ed Skoudis, and the SANS team decided to call this Ed's Wacky Winter Wonder Holiday Bonanza. Let's hear it for the alliteration there. It is wonderful to have so many guests joining us. If you want to type into the channel where you're joining us from, I'd be happy to see all the places around this big, beautiful planet that you're joining us from. My name is Ed Skoudis. I am not only a flashy dresser, I am also the president of the SANS Technology Institute College. I also manage a team that builds cyber ranges for SANS, including the NetWars cyber range, as well as the SANS Holiday Hack Challenge. And in fact, my vision for this Wait Just an Infosec episode is to have a little holiday party, to celebrate the holiday season, to celebrate the Holiday Hack Challenge. And I've invited a whole bunch of friends that are associated with Holiday Hack Challenge. And we're going to do 3 panels, and we'll talk with those friends. And I asked them to bring some holiday treats with them. So some have cookies, some have hot chocolate. I've got some wonderful little chocolates here. And you can see here, it's a Lindt chocolate, official sponsor of Wait Just an Infosec. I'm joking, they're not an official sponsor, but I will be enjoying some of their very fine chocolates during this episode. And others will be enjoying things. You'll see people decked out in holiday attire. I am wearing the Holiday Hack team. This is from the Counter Hack team. We bought them each Hawaiian shirts because, if you don't know, this year Santa moved down to the Pacific Ocean near the equator for the Holiday Hack extravaganza. And so we bought these shirts for everybody who's on the Counter Hack team because we got our little Santa Claus in here. So I welcome everybody here. If you've never played Holiday Hack, that's fine. You'll learn a lot more about it. If you have played, or maybe you're playing right now, I'm going to actually do some screen sharing a little bit, and maybe I'll see some of you sailing around. I'll be right near orientation in just a bit. But let's see where we have people joining us from. I got to go over here to my other tab. We've got folks from Bahrain here. We've got Illinois. We've got Saudi Arabia. We have Israel, Boston, all over Scottsdale, Arizona. This is wonderful. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to have a fun show for you. So again, we're going to do 3 panels, and we'll have 2 to 3 people per panel. Our first panel is going to be the gameplay perspective. That's where we're going to have people who actually play the Holiday Hack tell us about how they play it and such. Our second panel is going to be the challenge perspective. And I've invited for that panel Mark DeVito, Thomas Buva, and Chris Davis, each of whom builds various challenges there. And then our final panel is going to be our concierge perspective. If you've never played Holiday Hack, you might be thinking, what is a concierge? Well, we call them Kringle concierges. And these are people who help you familiarize yourself with the game. And we staff pretty much 24/7 for the first couple of weeks after Holiday Hack launch. We staff that somebody in the Discord channel and somebody in the game to help you if you get stuck. They're not really a TA per se, not helping you with the details of the technical stuff, but they're helping to make sure that you understand what the game is about and where to look and how to find things in the environment. Now, what I'd like to do is to post a question for you. I think we've got a poll question, and I'd like people here. Oh, we've got Romania joining us. We've got folks from CDI, the Washington Hilton. Hello, Richard Green. Welcome. Germany is here, Mississippi, Atlanta, and many more, many more. So how much time do you play Holiday Hack Challenge in a typical year? Now, some of you maybe have never played before. We would like to hear from you, and we'd like you to play. Maybe you play about an hour every year. Maybe you play 1 to 4 hours, maybe 4 to 10 hours. Maybe you play even more, and whatever it takes. I think, can you scroll on the whatever it takes? I mean, some people will do more than 20 hours because they want to just win the thing, and I don't see that as an option. I got never played less than 1 hour. If you do whatever it takes, maybe you just put yourself under the 10 to 20 hours there. But, oh, there it is. Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I couldn't see the scroll on my screen. Awesome. So please do answer that, and we'll look at the results of that poll. And we're going to have a couple of other polls coming up a little bit, and I think you're going to like those. But as is our way at the Wait Just an Infosec show, we always like to have the news bites for you. Oh, look, some people have never played. Hey, that's great. Some people, whatever it takes. It looks like our top 2 contenders there. But SANS News Bites, if you're not familiar with it, it's something that SANS sends out twice a week that summarizes what's happening in cyber news. It has been going on for, I don't know, 20 years or so. I've been an editor of News Bites for the last 15 years with many other industry folks acting as editors as well. I learned so much from News Bites and just kind of watched the trends in News Bites over the years. And on Wait Just an Infosec, we want to keep you informed as well as entertained, and we want to help with learning. And the News Bites segment is a crucial piece of that. So Thomas Wolf is going to be doing the News Bites segment. Hey, Thomas, it's great to see you again. Happy holidays. Very good. Let's turn it over to Thomas. Tell us all about this day's News Bites. Hey, Thomas, I don't know if you know this, but we can't hear you. We're having a little discussion behind your back saying none of us can hear you. You look great, though. Is there anything you can do to fix your audio?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow. I went through the entire first story. I hope my
I learned so
did
much
well for everybody. Let me try that again, folks.
So let's do it again. Right. Interpretive dance.
Yes, interpretive dance. That's next week's show. I've definitely
next week's show. Okay, I'll tune in. It's all yours, Thomas.
Let's start that again. Sorry about that, Ed. So Apple just dropped a report that they commissioned. They found a crazy increase in data breaches and compromised records. A total of about 2.6 billion personal records in 2021 and 2022. They also found a notable surge in the first 9 months of 2023, a 70% increase in ransomware attacks in 2023 compared to the same period in 2022. That's a huge jump. The report goes on to emphasize the critical role of encryption and highlights the growing threat posed by unencrypted files, especially in the cloud. The report also emphasizes the need for a cultural shift in organizations, proper planning, and adequate investment in encryption technologies, especially since 80% of these breaches involve data in the cloud. It also cautions against relying solely on cloud providers for encryption, which I think everybody really should know. In the next story, the North Korean hacking group Lazarus has a new campaign called Operation Blacksmith. They are exploiting, get this, the Log4j vulnerability. They've deployed 3 new malware families and have been targeting global manufacturing, agriculture, and security companies since March. They're leveraging the Log4Shell vulnerability on public-facing VMware Horizon servers. I definitely encourage folks to go online and read a little bit more about those 3 malware families that they've developed. They're pretty interesting. And in the last story, this one's pretty big. The EU has, in a historic development, reached a groundbreaking agreement on the world's first comprehensive law to regulate artificial intelligence. After about 37 hours of negotiation between the Parliament and the member states, Thierry Breton, the commissioner, called it a landmark deal. The law is going to cover social media and search engines and is definitely going to affect major companies like X, TikTok, and Google. The agreement positions the EU ahead of the United States, China, and the UK in this AI regulation race, something that I think is really interesting. The deal includes a ban on real-time surveillance and biometric technologies. Now, there's some specific exceptions around that having to deal with national security, terrorist threats, and serious crimes and victim searches, which I think is interesting. The framework adopts a risk-based tier system with the highest level of regulation applying to AI systems that pose the greatest risk to health, safety, and human rights. It's set to take effect no earlier than 2025, And it's interesting. It's not interesting to note, but it's important to note that there's a lot of details in this that remain limited. So the big takeaways from this: historic AI regulation agreement. There's a wide-reaching impact on major tech companies. The EU move is coming out as a global leader in the AI regulation. And there's a ban on real-time surveillance and biometric technologies. And there's going to be a risk-based tier system. And it's going to be going into effect in 2025. And those are your SANS News Bites for the week, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget that if you want more news from some of our sharpest minds at SANS, sign up for the Newsbites newsletter at sans.org/newsbites. Thanks so much, folks. Ed, now we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Interpretive dance.
At least it's not just me.
It was so great to hear you and to see you, both of them. Thanks for those news bites. Excellent stuff here. I'd like to bring our guests on board if we could. These are our game players' perspectives. So we'll have Lynn Schifano and Jared Folkens. Oh, Jared's got his stuff. Lynn, do you have some candy or something available? Very good.
Yeah.
But let's look at the results of our polls, because that might inform some of the things that you say. Can we look at that poll here? So we have a large number of people that have never played before. So you might not even know what Holiday Hack is. It looks like we have people who've played 1 to 4 hours. Some will play 4 to 10 hours. 13%, that's 1 in 8 people will play whatever it takes. I guess very few people play 10 to 20 hours. How about that? So with all these people that have never played, let me go to you, Jared Folkens. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to completely put you on the spot. What is Holiday Hack Challenge?
Yeah, what is Holiday Hack Challenge? I think Holiday Hack Challenge is a great way to introduce cybersecurity to all ages. I know that we are a very family-oriented group at SANS and CounterHack, and for me personally, I want to get my kids involved in cybersecurity. I want them to enjoy it, but a lot of the concepts seem so abstract, so kind of awkward, at the different ages. And so engaging people at all levels, if it's the first time you're playing, like we saw in that poll, or if you've been coming and playing Holiday Hack for years and years, everybody gets something out of it. But we do this based on a little gaming world that just really engages everybody at any age.
Yeah, that's great. Very well said, Jared. I appreciate that. One of the things that I like is we do have kids that play, junior high kids, sometimes even younger. There's high schools that play, colleges that play, but it's not merely for people who are new to cyber. They're also some of the finest, most skilled cyber warriors on planet Earth. I know a bunch of government agencies around the world that have law enforcement, their military groups, they play, and everybody in between. Now, this year we did load up on some introductory challenges as well. So there's some really, really complex challenges deep in the game. Also, there's a lot of challenges that are very introductory and straightforward. So Lynn Schifano, you've played Holiday Hack for many years. Yeah. Tell us about some of the new, most fun things for you in the game this year. Because it's a brand new game, right?
Right. It's a brand new game. We're on Geese Islands. We're sailing now, which is lots of fun. We have our ships. We can ahoy each other in the water and change our sails. There's a new hidden little challenge where you can change your sails to some fun stuff. And then we get on the islands and tour around, and we meet like Snowball Hero, and we can go play snowballs and throw them against Santa, but we can also interact with other people, which is really fun. Chris Davis loves to create games where we can play with others, and your kids can play. And I think he makes them for Jared's kids just to come in and play with him all day long, and they have a great time. But there's lots of fun things for all levels, and even you can get your family involved, your kids involved, and really enjoy the community and see each other in the game and really have a good time and learn a ton of stuff. So. Well
said. You could play this game solo, or you could play it with a group. I actually crashed a Holiday Hack party on Saturday where there's a group of 20 people playing, and one of them invited me to show up virtually. You could play with kids, adults, just having fun. And I loved all the different things that you said there. By the way, we've been joined by some guests. Belle is here from Brazil. How cool is that? Belle has helped us put together a lot of the messaging about Holiday Hack and such. We've also got a guest here from Colorado. And many other folks. Now, Lynn, you just described some really cool things in the game. So I would like to kind of share my screen. If we could do that, can we put my shared screen on here so that show people what it looks like in the game? you can see on my screen here, my little boat here. You see where it says Real Ed Skoudis? And you can see several other folks that are actually going to be talking soon on the game. We've got Stargeezer, that's Mark DeVito. Ahoy. So Bell just said ahoy. Watch what happens if I click on the ahoy button. It says ahoy. And it also rings a little bell. I'm going to turn on audio so you can hear it. Now, ding, ding. Oh, got to hit it. There we go. Is that cool or what? So this year we've got this sort of sailing vibe going here. So I see Stargeezer, I see Crahan, that's Thomas Buva. But I want to show you that we can go here. And if you look in the lower left of your screen, you can see our overworld. And you can see I'm kind of sailing around there. So there's a little yellow square that's moving around. And I'm going to dock on orientation. And I click on dock now. And I'm going to jump around here. Now I can talk to the elf. So if I talk to Jingle Ringford, that's our orientation elf, he talks back to me. Listen to him.
Perfect. Your orientation is now complete.
Oh, he said that last time I was here.
Head back to your boat, click on the anchor icon on the left of the screen to set sail for Frostys Beach, where Santa's waiting for you. As you sail to each island, talk to the goose of that island to receive
And we also
a colorful
have
lei festooning the masts on your ship.
little terminals here. So I can click on the terminal and I can type in here. I'm just going to type in answer here. And when you do that, you can kind of collect items and so forth. In the center of your avatar, my little avatar is this thing with the cactus underneath it. And you can click on the center and you can teleport to different destinations that you've already visited. Let's see, these are destinations that I've already seen. You get your objectives of things that I have to solve, and so forth. Also, Lynn, hey, there's Easter eggs in here, right? And there's one kind of personal Easter egg that I think people are hearing on their audio now. Do you want to tell people about that?
Oh, do you mean the fish or the Jason? Which one?
No, the background sounds.
Oh, the sounds. Yeah. So this year we added sound effects, which like really makes the whole game come alive, and some of them are really cool. And the guys added in a special little sound. It's the ocean in the background, and we had the whole team come to Manasquan for Counter Hackapalooza, and Chris LG and Eric recorded the sound of the Manasquan beach where we were at, and they put it in as the beach sound throughout the game, and didn't actually tell any of us until like maybe a week ago, and we were all excited about that because we have these little hidden things that are special to the community, to us, to people who've played for many, many years. So it's a lot of fun.
There's a lot of great stuff, and I'm gonna hop back on my boat here, and I'm gonna sail over to our next place. Hey, Jared, while I'm sailing over there, you did a lot of really interesting stuff with Game Boys this year. It was almost kind of like an Easter egg, but it became a set of challenges. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I was playing around with some ideas before Counter Hackapalooza, which is our annual gathering to brainstorm all the great stuff that we put into the Holiday Hack Challenge. And I came up with some ideas on how to include Game Boy games in the challenge that include a little narrative from a character that's been reoccurring now for a couple of years, Elf the Dwarf. And my goal with those, just from a gameplay, is one, to make them super fun and engaging again for all ages, but at the very beginning. But as we went around, as you get deeper into those challenges, I use some concepts about reverse engineering and malware reversal so that the players are getting those skills by playing these Game Boy challenges, and they might not even know it. My kids don't even know it until they're learning about how to manipulate bytes and different things. So put a lot of effort, a lot of work. I know everybody else did, but I was really pleased. I know we've got a lot of folks commenting on how much they love those sorts of challenges. So if you have some 80s nostalgia and you want to go back in time to 8-bit green screen Game Boys, then you should check out those challenges.
Yeah, they're really fun, and they're built in the game. You kind of wander around, and then you'll be in certain areas of the game, and there'll be a Game Boy cartridge there, and you can pick it up, and you boot it into a virtual Game Boy on the screen, and then you can play that game within a game, and there's some hidden flags on the Game Boy cartridges themselves, and they're also, Jared, this is right? They're real actual Game Boy ROMs that you created that somebody could theoretically download and put into a Game Boy and play it. I've seen some folks do that on Twitter or X, right?
Yeah. We've been having all sorts of people. If you want to check it out, go into our Discord channel for Holiday Hack, and they'll just drop in images to me, and I'll repost them. But they'll get it loaded up on their PS Vita or their Game Boy or whatever emulator software they've got. They've got our challenges running, which is really awesome to see. It's a great feeling.
You know, we did get a question on the chat here. Somebody says, what's the name of this game? So it's the Sands Holiday Hack Challenge. So where do you go to join it? You go to sands.org/holiday hack. It's just that. And when you go there, you can register to play the game. You can also join our Discord channel. There's a link there. There's music, so you can listen to all the music there. Yep, so there you go, sands.org/holiday hack. Check that out. Now, Lynn, we had teased the idea of some of these Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get to that, though, let me just say that there's 24 challenges here, all very real-world cybersecurity skills, from an introductory level to very advanced, and we kind of tell you which ones are the easy ones to start out with. So there's challenges in addition to this fun storyline with a bunch of Easter eggs. So Lynn, tell us more about the Easter eggs.
So there's lots of fun things to do in the game, and Evan this year put in racing, which is amazing. You have like all these little race tracks that you can go around, and there's a leaderboard.
You race your boat.
You race your boat, and then you get on the leaderboard. And I know, like, it's fun for the family, but it's also really fun for, you know, advanced people to hack in or do bots or whatever they're doing to, like, also hack all these challenges, all the games. And there's a fishing challenge where you can fish for. There's tons of fish there to fish for, and they're really cool, neat fish everywhere. And there's a very, very special fish. It's the last fish. And it's homage to Ed, and everybody is, you know, so excited when they get it. It's amazing.
Can I show people fishing? Let me show my screen again. And so you got my little boat here, right? The little real Ed Skoudis boat sitting right there. And you see on the bottom of the screen, it's got this little. I got to stop. If you hit the space key, your boat will stop. And then after you've kind of stopped for a little bit, it'll pop up a thing that says cast line. Now watch my boat really carefully when I cast the line. You see, it's got a little bobber there. And the little bobber, now I got to wait. If I reel it in like right now, I didn't catch anything. So I'm going to cast my line again, and I have to wait for a little pseudo random time here. And when the reel it in button changes color, I catch a fish. And we have a lot of fish. I don't think I'm allowed. Oh, there, I got it. I caught a pistachio pizza fin puffin fly, which is not only exciting, it's delicious. And then you can share on X. So I could post on X that I just caught this fish, and I could close it. I can cast the line again and catch another fish. There's well over 100 fish. And I get my Pescadex here. So this is all the fish that I've caught so far. I caught a spangled jelly turtle whipplefin. I caught a jelly belly floatfish. They might say, what does this have to do with cybersecurity? Well, first of all, it's just fun. We're trying to encourage people to join and have a good time. We should also automate the catching of fish. I mean, it's one of our bonus challenges this year to try to catch all the possible fish there. Pretty cool stuff. So let's get back to Jared for a second here. Jared, what are your thoughts on, say, the snowball fights? I know your kids love those.
Yeah. The snowball fights, I think, are great. It was a great decision to put those early in the game. I think it just excites people. And I think people are surprised that, again, the team at CounterHack is so brilliant because we create those games within a game. So yes, there's a game where you feel like you're just throwing snowballs back and forth and you're competing against Santa. But if you actually peer underneath the hood, if you want to hack that game, you can figure out a way to manipulate it to win the game. And all that's allowed in the game. It's we are including you and inviting you to hack our stuff, right? Where else can you get that for free at this scale? I haven't seen it personally myself. And so people love that. I think it was really smart to include that right at the start.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. And there's hints all over the place. I'm going to actually sail. Can we share my screen again? I'm going to sail up to the next place, Frostys Beach, and then you just click on Dock Now. We tried to make it super intuitive, and here I am at Frostys Beach. You can see me hopping around. My boat is there docked. I'm hopping through this balloon arch, which is actually a reference to something that our team did at DEF CON this year. We created a balloon arch and had a party with it, and then dragged it over to DEF CON and used it at the entrance to DEF CON. So if I hop in here, I'm going to turn on the sound so we can hear. But if I click on Santa Claus,
welcome to the Geese Islands, fellow
sounds
traveler. This
familiar.
one is called Christmas Island.
Gosh,
You know, after countless years of shivering.
I hate to talk over myself, but
the notion was suggested by my good friend,
so
Chat North Pole Technology, or as we like to call it, Chat NPT.
Chat NPT.
That's the one we use, but there's a whole slew of other AI platforms.
So
You should try them out.
This year is very AI centric. Oh, here you can see some of our fine sponsors. We've got a little swag booth where you could buy shirts and mugs and things like that. Amazon is a sponsor this year. We're so thankful to Amazon Security. The Sands.edu College is a sponsor. Microsoft is a sponsor, and they wrote an amazing challenge for us in their Cousteau Detective Agency. So we're collaborating with Microsoft here. Google has been a sponsor for the last several years. We're so thankful for all of their support. You can click on any of these booths, and they'll give you more information about that. JJ says he loves the balloon arch. How about that? We also have the President's Club. So there's a poster this year, the President's Cup, which is run by CISA, a great challenge for U.S. federal employees. And then we also have HackSpaceCon, a poster from that wonderful conference. Here you can see all these other people. I wonder if they know we're even looking at them. All these other people who are playing right now. And here's the free Snowball Fights machine, which we'll come back to in just a little bit. I have one final question for Lynn and Jared. Okay, so let's go back off of screen sharing. I would like to ask you, what is your favorite song? There's a custom album of music from the 2023 version. So please do share.
I love Rock Me Santa. It's a collaboration of our Josh Skoudis, who's no relation to Ed, and Ninja, and it's awesome. Yeah,
that's my son, no relation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Rock Me Santa Claus. It's based on that old Amadeus song, Amadeus. It's Rock Me Santa Claus, Rock Me Santa Claus. I've heard from many people, and they say that's their favorite. It's not my personal favorite, but I appreciate that Lynn likes it, and it's a good one. It's a solid one. Jared, what's your favorite song this year?
Yeah, so my favorite song this year, I think one of the most fun things about working on this project with Ed and the team is that as we develop it, you suddenly, we were building the world behind the scenes. You refresh one of the islands and you stumble across something new. And I remember I'm sailing around, I hit one of the islands and I hear dun-dun, and I'm just kind of startled. That movie traumatized me. And I was thinking, why is this soundtrack that's terrorized me as a child in this movie? And then it segues into a Christmas holiday song. So my favorite song is Santa Jaws. I think it's a brilliant song.
Santa Jaws, we're going to need a bigger sleigh. That's and all of that music is on various streaming services. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on YouTube Music, it's on Amazon Music. It's all over the place. Lynn and Jared, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate that. So let's send those wonderful guests off and bring our next guests here. We are going to be joined by some challenge developers, and they're going to tell us about their favorite challenges. Chris Davis, Thomas Buva, and Mark DeVito. But before we do that, before we get into interacting with each of you, I see you're all on mute, so remember to take yourselves off of mute. We have learned a lesson here, haven't we? Can we put up the next poll question? I'd like to interact with the audience a little bit. What is your favorite challenge ever in Holiday Hack? Now, if you've never played, you might not have a lot of information there, although you did see that there's a snowball fight that you can hack, and you can hack the fishing, right? So there's a possibility of that. But if you've played in the past, what challenge really tickled your fancy? And you can call it almost, any name that you remember of it. Maybe it was a Linux 101 challenge in the past, or maybe it was something where you're hacking blockchain, or it might be from this year, like SSH shenanigans, or the key bidding challenge that we did, collecting the fish. Oh, there was the CAPTIA, which was a CAPTCHA, but you had to prove that you were an elf. That was actually written by Chris Davis. And SSH Shenanigans, that was written by Thomas Buva. But keep typing in. We'll look at this a little bit later. So great start on this one. You can join at slido.com. But hey, welcome to our challenge creators. I would like to start with Chris Davis, since he's not on mute. Chris, I know it's important for you every year to try to put in mini games. And at least one of your mini games every year, you like to have player versus player options. People can play by themselves, but tell us more about the player versus player options and what you built in with the Snowball game this year.
Yeah, so this is the second time we've tried to do a multiplayer. So one of the things that with the game we try to do is make people feel connected, right? So you're here at a conference, kind of, sort of, and you're also in this world. And so that's one of the good things about massive online player games is it gives you that sense of being connected and socializing with people, even though you're not really. And so that's kind of what we wanted to do in a video, in a game, is one, connect people so that they actually feel connected and they have to work together. I've seen on Discord some people saying, hey, I just started a room. Can somebody help me jump in here? And so we wanted to make a challenge that was, you could solve it just by playing with people, and that's totally legit. That's 100% correct. But on the other hand, too, we also know that there are lone wolf curmudgeons like myself who like to, do things on their own. And so we're like, okay, but let's also not make it blocking to where if you're the antisocial person and you don't want to do it, you can solve it through hacking. And so we built in basically a few routes: play with people and hack, play with people, play it legit, and then play with people or don't play with somebody and hack it as a solo player. So.
Yeah. That's great, Chris. Thank you for all you do. I'd like to show people, if we can go back to the game, can we, my shared screen, because I want to show people the Snowball Fight. Okay. So, okay, good. So I just click here. You see my little avatar jumping around there, right? And see all these people gathered around here. They're having Snowball Fights right now. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Snowball Fight game. This was created by Chris. And I'm just going to do versus Santa, but you can create a private room. They give you a little string, and then you can share that with your friends in Discord or whatever. I'm just going to do play versus Santa, and here we go. And it gives you a little bit of instructions, which you can read if you'd like. I'm just going to click ready and start throwing snowballs. And then Santa's going to come and destroy me pretty soon, I think. I'm convinced that Chris Davis creates these mini games, first of all, so you can learn how to hack these things. But secondly, so he has somebody that he can play with during the holiday season. Chris is often in there doing pickup games, usually against Jared Folkin's kids. I swear he probably spent, 80 hours last year playing games against Jared's kids. So that's pretty cool. I'd like to move to Mark DeVito next, and we can move off the screen share if you'd like. Mark DeVito, you had a crucial role in this year's holiday hack. You were the challenge wrangler, which is not a trivial thing. What I'd like you to do is tell us what you did as a challenge wrangler, because it's a big, important thing. We would not be here if it wasn't for you getting all this 24 challenges out. And secondly, give us a smattering of what challenges are available this year.
Sure. So yeah, being a challenge wrangler, it's a great title. So it was very interesting. Part of what Holiday Hack It is built, basically we're constructing a quality game platform in a very short period of time. So it takes a lot of organization, takes a lot of communication, interaction between the teams, between us and Sans. So it involves a lot of just making sure that we're staying on schedule, making sure that we're staying, that we're staying in the time frames that we have available to us. We have to make sure things are getting coded. We have to make sure that things are tested. We bring in beta testers to make sure that we are able to, because after a while, it's kind of like reading something. You read a document long enough and you start to see what you want to see. And same thing with creating some of the challenges and such. As the creators, sometimes we don't see the little nuanced errors that a first-time person playing the game will. So we bring in beta testers. We make sure that the back end is working smoothly. Jared does a phenomenal job getting that back end, making sure that it's smooth, that it runs properly. Evan Booth, our world creator, and Thomas had a huge role in world creation this year as well. Those areas, all those things need to be sort of synchronized properly, because you can't get them done. You can't do one before the other sometimes, and you have to make sure that everything is put together properly.
You did a magnificent job making sure they all come in on time. And 24 challenges, this is the most we've ever had. And they're all real world challenges. I mean, these are hands-on keyboard skills with vital lessons for cybersecurity professionals. And one of the big things we incorporated this year was AI. We used AI to create the world, to do a lot of the artistic work in it. We used AI to write the dialogue. We used AI for voice synthesis. Maybe I'll have Thomas actually tell us about some of the different challenges that are in there. Thomas, so tell us about the challenges that are in this year's. You don't have to go through all of them, but just some of them that are. Yeah.
There's a whole smattering, obviously, right? You just mentioned it, 24. I think that's the most we've had in forever, which is amazing. We have challenges that basically take hardware challenges and bring him into the world as a virtual challenge, which I love. Those are actually my favorites. The lock challenges, for example, where you actually get to pick a lock and you like to learn those techniques and how to open them. There's challenges where you basically go and validate an AI's interpretation of a pen test report. And you need to figure out, hey, is this AI hallucinating, or is this actually legitimately something that would be in a pen test report? which I think is very, very something you can learn from, right? Obviously, like detecting those kinds of things. And then there's this whole set of challenges that are chained together that let you learn about Azure environments, for example. Lets you learn about how to leverage AI, for example, on synthesizing someone's voice and copying someone's voice to get past certain like blocks or access things
Voice
that have a door
cloning.
shut.
Yes, voice cloning is in the game this year. If you get about 2/3 of the way through the game, you're going to have to clone the voice of one of our non-player characters and actually use that in a voice recognition system to open a door. So that's one of my favorites. And I've heard from some friends they love that challenge too, which was built by Chris Davis, I might add. But Thomas, could you tell us more about what you did with the voice cloning data? Because there's over 30 non-player characters. So tell us about those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had ChatGPT basically generate a story that is about the Geese Islands and Santa going to the Geese Islands, like multiple paragraphs. And we asked several of the CounterHack employees and their friends and their family, would you be willing to read this story and record your voice? And we then used all of those samples and put them into an AI system for voice creation. And we mapped them to the different NPCs in the game. Some people were aware that we were doing that. Other people didn't really know why they were contributing their voice necessarily, but then they saw it when they went into the game, looking for who they were in the game. And it's been such a fun experience, and it adds a lot, in my opinion, to the overall engagement with the game world.
Yeah. Hey, can we bring up the poll again? Because I'd like to see what people said about their favorite challenges. Collecting the fish. The fish is a big hit this year. The Reportinator. I'm glad people are learning from that. That's wonderful. Last year, Jared did a challenge with CI/CD pipeline. People like that. Collecting hats last year was fun. This year we've got collecting fish. There's been a ransomware challenge Chris Davis wrote a few years ago. It was Want a Cookie. It was amazing. People like Linux 101. The Key Challenge we already mentioned. The ELF University, that was back in 2019, security operations. So this is really cool. Fun stuff. Let me close by asking each of you this question. Let's see. What question? I would like you to tell me your personal favorite challenge. Maybe from this year, or if you want, you can go to years past. I know Chris Davis has been writing these challenges for 5+ years. But why don't we go ahead and start with Chris Davis? What's your favorite challenge that either you've written or somebody else has written in Holiday Hack?
So actually, I'm not sure who wrote it. This was back in 2015 before I worked for CounterHack. It was the Super Gnomes. That whole series of challenges was my first time, first time playing in Holiday Hack Challenge. I think that was 2015.
Yep.
And hacking all the Super Gnomes was a ton of fun, and doing the buffer overflow. It was a lot of new concepts that I hadn't really touched in at that time. So
that was a great one. So back then it was called Gnome in Your Home was the theme last year in 2015, and there were these 5 gnomes to rule them all. They controlled hundreds of thousands of other gnomes, and it was IoT based. So there was a buffer overflow in one of them that the team worked on. And Chris, it's good that you have that memory. Awesome. Let's go to Mark DeVito next. Mark, what's your favorite challenge this year or previous years?
So I'm gonna, I've kind of got a bit of a toss up here. So I kind of love Elf Hunt since I built it.
You did. Elf Hunt is cool, where you get to like shoot at elves.
Yeah, with throw snowballs. But I think it's in a tight competition for the lockpick for the faster lock challenge in this year, because I love, and this is tip of the Santa hat to Mr. Davis there, because I love the fact that he took real world activities, real hands-on things, and converted them into this virtual world, and it's about as realistic as you could get without having some sort of some sort of physical simulation in front of you. It's pretty cool. So that's probably my favorite.
I have one comment on that. I've noticed people in Discord are like, man, it's sort of finicky, and I'm like, yeah, the real locks are way more finicky.
Right.
Each one's slightly different. You have to have very, very tight hand control and finesse, and it took me. I did it for like 4 hours one day, just trying to get it down. And
you'll learn how to pick a lock. One of those.
The digital version's much more forgiving. Trust me.
Yeah. Yep. And you'll also learn how to pick luggage locks this year. So there's 2 different lock picking challenges there, with a bunch of hints and pointers to videos to learn. Thomas, what is your favorite challenge, either this year or in previous years?
I'll give you mine for this year and my favorite overall. This year I would say Fasterlock as well. Just
great.
for the aspect of, I mean, it's the hardware that you bring it into the game, you virtualize it, you make it like in a software challenge. I love that, and I learned a lot about that. I actually bought the lock itself to now try it in real life. And then overall, I would say
the
faster lock, yes. And then overall, I would say 2018 Wannacookie. Because that's the first time I actually played. And back in the day, I was on the defense side in Infosec, and that really mapped it to something I knew from my day job. But in a
that was a crazy hard, wonderful reverse engineering of ransomware that Chris Davis conceived and built. Chris, you're amazing. It's just incredible the stuff that you all are. Well, you really are.
Part of that was from my prior experience on the defensive side too. So I wanted to, and that was when WannaCry came out too. So it was perfect timing. Yeah,
it was very timely. Well, hey, thank you all so much for joining this. Really appreciate it. Thomas and Mark, you look great in those shirts. I don't know where you got those. Chris, you look great too. But let's go ahead and now move on to our third and final panel. And as we're bringing up these two wonderful concierges, it's great to see you, Jeanette and Kyle. Let's put up our final poll question too, so people can start interacting with that. I got one more poll question. If you've played in the past, we've had various holiday hack villains. There's a whole storyline every single year where you've got, you're trying to save the holiday season from some villain that's trying to steal it from Santa Claus. And in the past, we've had Cindy Lou Who, which was the 2015 villain. We've had Hans Gruber, who was the 2018 villain. Doctor Who was 2016. Glinda the Good Witch was 2017. The Tooth Fairy was 2019. Jack Frost was 2020 and 2021. And there's one more on the list here. Grincham was 2022. And I'm not going to tell you who this year is. You're going to have to figure that out on your own. But so go ahead and vote on that. And let me bring our guests now, if we can go full screen back on the guests. We've got Kyle and Jeanette. So one of the things that we have, I mentioned it earlier, is we call them Kringle concierges. And the idea is these are just friendly, wonderful, outgoing people that are there for you when you show up in the game and you say, what am I doing? They're in Discord. And you can interact with them. We used to have an in-game chat mechanism that people would ask for hints, and it just wasn't the greatest way to do hints back and forth. There's hints already from the elves, but we're trying to direct everybody to use Discord because we can have much more robust interactions with them. And Kyle and Jeanette are two wonderful concierges. I think there's over 20 different concierges. Maybe we'll start with Jeanette. Jeanette, tell us your experience with being a concierge. What's it like? What do you do? What is your focus?
Focus is playing Holiday Hack, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
So that I know where to tell people to go. It's actually a lot of fun, and I can't imagine the holiday season actually without being able to play Holiday Hack. So no, it's a whole lot of fun.
That's so sweet. Thank you, buddy. Kyle, what is your experience or thoughts on being a Kringle concierge?
Well, one, to put in perspective, I mean, I feel like KringleCon and Holiday Hack Challenge really kicked off my career years ago when I started. So getting in and having all these practical challenges that I had never experienced, and then having all these people to interact with and people to help you, just show you around. How does this work? This is all new to me. So I want to return the favor and say, hey, I want to volunteer. I want to offer my services and hopefully help people. And so I just look in the chat. Well, one, I get to schedule at the time. So we have our schedule this year. So now I have a dedicated couple-hour slot. I say, hey, I have to play today. I can't have to get up early and play. And then monitor the chat and just help people and see that spark light up when they figure it out.
All of our concierges are volunteers, and we're so thankful for you. You work hard, and you really are giving back to the community. You're helping people build vital skills for the mission, and the mission is to make the world a safer, more secure place. So I love that you do that. I'm going to put you on the spot now. As you know, we added all of these voices. There's over 30 voices in the game now. Do you have a favorite voice in the game that you've observed that you'd like to share? Anybody? You can even describe the voice if you don't remember the particular character. Oh, Chris Noble says, huge props to the concierges. You all make a huge difference. You really do. That's why I really wanted to have you guys represented here. So what's your favorite voice?
The geese.
Ah,
The geese. Nice.
oh yes, the geese are funny. I love the little random things. And my favorite character is always Jason. That's why the first person I look for. I don't
was
remember if he
thinking-
has a voice this year or not.
So Jason Blanchard, a good friend of our team, we put him in every year. In the past, he's been a plant. He's been a poinsettia. He's been a dead canary. That was last year. He's been a flush handle on a toilet. He's been a nail. He was a tooth in the Tooth Fairy's bag. I mean, he's this year, I'm not going to tell you what he is, but he's always fun. And it's actually his voice. He allowed us to use his voice with some AI magic to do that. My favorite, I like what you said, Jeanette. My favorite is actually the geese. And in particular, the goose on Steampunk Island. So can we share my screen again just real quick? Because I want to set sail. So I'm going to hop on my boat here. All right, I'm going to go on the boat. Now, I could sail all the way around to go to Steampunk Island, but goodness gracious, that would take me probably 3 or 4 minutes, which you don't want to see. So I'm just going to go into my badge here. Oh, there we go. Let me go into my badge here. And I'm going to go to destinations, and I am going to go up to Steampunk Island, and I'm going to go to Rusty Quay on Steampunk Island. I'm going to turn the sound back on. I hope you can hear that. I'm going to hop forward here. And let's see. Oh, here you can hear Rock Me Santa Claus a little bit in the background. One of my favorite songs here. I'll do the music on. Sounds a little familiar. Rock Me Santa. I'm going to turn that back down. And in fact, I'm going to go to a different destination right now. I'm going to go ahead and go to Steampunk Island, Colgago Marina here. And I'm going to turn the music on mute again. And I'm going to hop around down here. And there we go. This is the goose I want you to hear. The goose of Steampunk Island. Get ready. I'm going to turn the sound back on. And I'm going to click on him. Get ready. My favorite.
Cluck, cluck. Cluck, cluck.
It's just, he's so serious.
Cluck, cluck.
All right, we'll go back on mute, and then we could move it off of full screen. But there's all these wonderful game voices. There's children's voices, from some folks on the team here, and so forth. I've got another question for you both. Maybe we'll start with Kyle on this one, and then Jeanette, I'd love to hear your answer too. There's many people that haven't played, and they're like, what is this crazy thing? These people seem to be really enthusiastic about it, but I go to sans.org/holidayhack. Why would I want to play? Maybe people are a little intimidated. So Kyle, what would you say to somebody who's like, I don't know if I want to play or not? What would you say?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is don't be intimidated, because the whole purpose of this is to bring people of all different backgrounds and to be able to learn something and literally apply that in your job when you go back to work. So, and I was there too. I almost didn't do one of these challenges. And, I hopped in and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I absolutely learned a ton. And, through discussing and talking with other players in the game, I learned an absolute ton. And it made a big difference. So don't be intimidated. You will absolutely learn something.
That's great to hear. Great. Jeanette, what do you think?
Well, I'm a customer service supervisor, so I'm not in the cybersecurity role, if you will. But I play it because I have an opportunity to do something that's free and learn how to protect people's information without having to pay for a class. It's just, if someone like myself, who has absolutely no cybersecurity background, can play this game and be successful in going through each little step and can learn as I go, why not do it?
I gotta say, I'm literally tearing up as you're talking, Jeanette. That is so good. Thank you. You guys are great as concierges. What's the most common question? Maybe we'll start with Jeanette on this one, that you get as a concierge. Somebody shows up in the world and they're like, what do they ask you? What do they say?
How do I move?
Yeah.
Where do I go?
Mm-hmm. That's why you're
elf, which elf do I look for?
Yep. So Kyle, what is your most common question? And just sort of your philosophy of concierging.
So this year, I hop in the boat. Which direction do I go? So then I'll kindly point them to the little mini map down at the bottom that is easy to miss, and be able to say, go to the island, and there'll be some elves there and be able to give you some information about what your next goal is. And I do like that in this, at least in this year, you can do it in order, but you don't necessarily have to.
Right.
So it's just one of those, you have the freedom to explore and just let them know, hey, if you do get to something that requires a prerequisite, it'll let you know. But otherwise, I mean, just roam around and see, find out as much information as you can.
I do like that. If you get to, like, say you get ahead of yourself and you're the challenges you can solve in different orders, but certain later ones require earlier ones to be solved first because you get information. Like you might learn a password in an earlier challenge that you need to use later. If you get to the later challenge, there's an elf there who'll say, hey, why don't you go back and talk to this other place that you've already been to? And then you can just teleport there directly from your badge. So what are some of your most, and we'll start with Jeanette on this one, sort of your most fun gameplay elements this year? And we talked about that with some of our players earlier, but you guys are players too. So what do you think is most fun this year?
Honestly, I don't have a favorite yet this year.
Okay.
It's just going through it because it's so different from last year, from the last couple of years with Jack Frost. And so
we introduced the sailing theme, and then obviously you could do the fishing and you land on the islands. And once you get on an island, it's similar to previous years, but this whole sailing and the race boats and fishing and all that is kind of cool. Kyle, same question for you. What is your sort of favorite part about this year that's different from previous years, say?
So challenges or gameplay?
Yes.
Okay. I'd have to say my favorite challenge so far, or is like the KQL challenge.
Oh, the Custo,
yeah, it was an awesome way to show some, I mean, very practical. You're literally using the technology in the Azure Data Explorer to write queries on data sets, which, I mean, for anybody doing security, I mean, query languages are an absolute must as far as skills go for a wide variety of areas of security. So it's a really cool hands-on experience, I think.
That challenge was created by Microsoft as a sponsor for us. And I don't know if people know this, but the whole back end of Microsoft Cloud Security is based on this thing called KQL, Custo Query Language. And you're essentially going to be doing threat hunting in the Azure cloud. And we have two different challenges on it. They're directly related to each other. One is 101, getting you started, and one is more advanced. I am really pleased with the work that team did there, and then interacted with our team to build this thing and pull it off. What about from a gameplay perspective, Kyle? Any particularly whimsical flourish you like this year?
I always love the little challenges and leaderboards. So the little races you have around the islands. It's always fun seeing if you can make the leaderboard.
That's so cool. When you're in game and you're sailing around, you'll see like a little green flag. Sail over that flag, and then it will give you a bearing to the next flag. And you can zoom around, and whoever gets to all those flags in the shortest period of time wins. And there's a little leaderboard that pops up on the screen to see if you got a best time or not. So those are cool. Favorite song this year? Any thoughts? Or even previous years?
This year, it's probably Do You Hear What I Hear. I like the beat to it. In the past, I really like I Could Be Santa, and if you played that challenge, it's really cool. You just, when it happens, you realize what that challenge is all about.
That's true. Cool. Yeah. So those are good ones. The Can You Hear What I Hear was actually from a couple of years ago, and we usually create 6 or 7 new songs each year. I think this year there were 6 new songs, and then we reuse 2 or 3 songs from previous years that just fit the motif. And that one fit the motif, and it's actually kind of a hint about what's going to happen. If you listen to it carefully, there's a couple of songs that are hints about what's going to happen, just like that one, I'm the Real Santa was. Jeanette, any thoughts on favorite song this year or previous years?
Tainted Winter Snow.
That's my favorite this year. It is so cool. I love it. Now I am biased. It was created by my son, no relation. He did all the lyrics. He did all the arrangement. He did all the instruments. He did everything. He end to end. And it is a big hint too. When you hear Tainted Winter Snow, it's actually a reflection of one called I Love Winter Snow that we did a few years ago. It's just bringing the storyline forward. I didn't know you were going to say that, Jeanette. But it's my favorite this year. Now, look, if it's not your favorite, if you like Rock Me Santa Claus, if you like, Do You Hear What I? Hey, that's all good. But that is my favorite.
I look for Josh's music because I like his spin on it.
Thank you.
He's very talented.
You're very kind. I appreciate it. I push him hard. You know, he sent, there were probably 4 or 5 drafts of that. There were probably 15 drafts of Rock Me Santa Claus. It's like, this isn't quite right. This isn't quite, or the 2023 Space Odyssey, 2001 Holiday Odyssey, whatever you want to call it. You know, I pushed on a lot of drafts there because I have an idea of what I want it to sound like. And if it's not quite at that idea, it's like, you got to amplify this or put that down. The thing that gets me on the Tainted Winter Snow is when he goes all bluesy at the end and starts singing like Al Green. I did not ask for that. I didn't see it coming. And I'm like, dude, this is so wonderful. Love it. I'm sorry I'm bragging on my boy. No relation. But he's a complete relation. Thank you for. Crahan says the 80s kid in me just loves the 80s theme songs. Hey, Jeanette and Kyle, thanks for what you do as concierges. You are wonderful volunteers. You're paying it forward to the community. I appreciate it. The whole team here appreciates it, and most of all, our players appreciate it because we have over 19,000 people play every year. So Kyle, Jeanette, thank you for joining us. Let's go back to our poll if we could. Your favorite villain from Holiday Hacks in the past. I'd like to see Cindy Lou Who, age 62. I think that is one of my favorites. And you could actually see her. We commissioned an artist to draw Cindy Lou Who at age 62. Hans Gruber, another classic, of course, from that holiday movie called Die Hard. Jack Frost comes in third. And it looks like nobody's big on Glinda or the Tooth Fairy or so forth. We adjust the story every year. Wait till you see next year. Because it takes us over 14 months to put these things together. I've been working on Holiday Hack 2024 myself since October of 2023, while the team finishes up this year. Oh, Doctor Who got another vote. It came in dynamically. So I have a request for you in the audience. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you're motivated and inspired to play. Just give us 15 minutes. I hope you'll get in. You'll have a couple of laughs. You could talk with some concierges over in Discord. 15 minutes. If you give us 15 minutes, maybe you'll give us a half hour or an hour. You don't have to play for 10 hours or 40 hours or anything like that. Just play for 15 minutes or an hour. You'll learn something. You'll have fun. I hope to give you some laughs. The whole team works so hard on this, and we're super thankful to SANS for letting us do this stuff. We're super thankful to our sponsors, which includes SANS.edu, the college. It includes Amazon Security. It includes Microsoft, and it includes Google. It's great to have these wonderful sponsors. But the most important people in the Holiday Hack Challenge of all is you. It's the players. We are here to deliver you a wonderful learning environment where you can build real-world cybersecurity skills to help you defend your organizations. So my favor that I need to ask of you is to tell your friends to play. Really, please, please, please tell them to go to sans.org/holidayhack and have a great time. With that said, I'd like to thank all of our guests for being on the show. It was great having some players' perspective, some challenge builders' perspective, and then those all valuable concierges. Those were 2 people representing over 20 people that go and give you their all to help you build cybersecurity skills. So on behalf of the SANS Institute, who puts this whole Holiday Hack Challenge together, we thank you. We wish you a happy and safe holiday season. Play Holiday Hack Challenge. Have some fun. I wish you some good times with your friends and your family. And with that, we'll go ahead and close out the show and say goodbye. Thank you. Happy holidays.